What is going on, guys? Welcome back to the Rantin Review Pro Wrestling. We're catching up with most of the big items from the last week in the world of pro wrestling and sports entertainment. Before we get into that, I got to remind you guys that I got a lot of free goodies down in the description box below for you. Doing very good with the investing world. If you want to get in on your investments, you want to get some free money, essentially free stocks that you can sell or keep if you want to, check out the links down below. There's some links for Webull. There's some links for Robinhood, depending on the platform you want to check out. You can even get into crypto with Coinbase, giving some free crypto away if you sign up using the links down below. I appreciate it very much. It helps out the channel. But let's talk about some wrestling stuff for the last week. So one of the things that first came up, what I want to talk about first is this past weekend's New Japan Pro Wrestling Resurgence show out in California. It was a decent show. They had a decent crowd on hand. It was, again, more star-studded than I think people really even know. I'm like, half the roster I didn't know was going to be on this show. I didn't know Jack Perry was going to be on the show. I didn't know Mustafa Ali was going to be on this show, Leo Rush. And that's the thing about these New Japan Strong shows. And I think they should probably promote this a little bit more. It is kind of the only place you're going to get this big cross-section of the entire pro wrestling world. You got people who are famous for being in WWE, like Nick Nemeth, aka Dolph Ziggler, Mustafa Ali, Leo Rush. You get guys obviously from AEW with Jon Moxley and Eddie Kingston. You get people from TNA with Mustafa Ali and Dolph Ziggler as well. You get people, a lot of women wrestlers from Stardom and a lot of the other promotions. So you get this nice little mix up. Of course, the New Japan stars themselves, and maybe even eventually some other Japanese wrestling stars. So you get this good cross section of a lot of different wrestling companies. On this night, the show opened up with a donation. The donation was from Mustafa Ali, who donated this match to a lower card guy. That lower card guy being Leo Rush, who's beaten him before and is a former X Division champion himself. These guys had a really good opening match. It was a lot of fun. Ali's gimmick is absolutely fantastic. He's kind of like this presidential candidate, but he's so good, and he is amazingly good in the ring, and he's getting to show it off being in the pro wrestling side of the wrestling world right now. Did pick up the win over Leo Rush. The show in itself was really centered around the main event matches. The one for me, as I've been tracking and I've been telling you guys for a while, and I see other people are starting to catch on with it, is Gabe Kidd challenging Eddie Kingston for Kingston's last of the Triple Crown, the last title he's held from the Triple Crown Championship. He won with the Continental Classic last year, the NJPW Strong Championship, and this was a hard-hitting, brutal match, as you would expect, but it was a match with no ropes, and it was kind of a last man standing match. Now, the interesting thing about this match, there is probably about a half dozen times where either one of these guys could have gotten a 10 count on the other one, but chose to stop the referee's count just so they could keep fighting. Kingston, at one point in time, he's setting up this table over the guardrail, between the guardrail and the ring. He had to really rearrange everything with the ringside barricade to get it done. And I was like, please be careful. And it looked nasty when he took the bump eventually on this one. Gabe Kidd, for his credit, he took about a good 5 minutes to look for a ladder underneath the ring. But once they finally got their plunder set up, it was cataclysmic. Although the ladder really didn't come into play too much in the match. But the match ended with Gabe Kidd getting a reversal on Eddie Kingston and suplexing him from the ring outside through the table that Kingston set up earlier. Kingston looked like he broke his neck on the thing. When I first saw it, I thought he was a goner. That was a horrible looking spot, one I probably never want to see happen again. Apparently Kingston's okay. There's been no reports of him, suffering any major injuries from that. But that was how Gabe Kidd won the last man standing match, becomes the NJPW Strong Champion. David Finlay comes in and celebrate with him. So does the guy that sings These My Dogs for Real entrance music for Gabe Kidd. No offense to the guy, but I see what they were going for. They were going for that. This is a thing that AEW and WWE do a lot. They'll get, the live performer to sing the song, of the entrance song of the wrestler coming to the ring. It's been done many times before. Not very often in New Japan. Of course, New Japan's done it before. Famously, Minoru Suzuki had the singer of Kazi ni Nare come out several years ago for Wrestle Kingdom. But Gabe Kidd really treating this like a big match. You can tell the guy knows he's going places in the business. He's got this Dr. Death Steve Williams robe that he debuted at the New Japan show the other week ago. He brought it out for this match as the Madman because he's crazy. And again, this was a brutal, bloody. I suggest watching this match. It's a little tough in some spots, and the parts where they're going around looking for their gimmicks underneath the ring takes away from the match a little bit because they took too long to do it. But ultimately, this was the coming out party for Gabe Kidd, winning a major championship in New Japan, the NJPW Strong Championship, and Eddie Kingston is now without titles. But to rub salt in the wounds, Jack Perry comes out, who's still part of the House of Torture because he was teamed with the House of Torture earlier in the show, but he's also, of course, part of the Elite in AEW, and his other faction made a surprise appearance, the Young Bucks, for the first time since all that whole fiasco happened back at Wrestle Kingdom. I think it was Wrestle Kingdom 13, or I forget which one it was. The last Wrestle Kingdom they wrestled at for New Japan. First time they've been in a New Japan ring since then. They attacked Eddie Kingston, cut a really weird promo while they were doing it, and then kind of said, well, this is all kind of beneath us, which is, keeping in line with the Bucks, but it's also some sentiment that some people feel like New Japan has fallen off so much that this kind of does feel a little bit, even though this is where the Bucks became famous, it is kind of them, it is a little beneath them to some fans. I think you got to have a little bit more respect for the promotion that made you, or helped to make you, I should say. But, it is neither here nor there. It was in kayfabe, so it's fine. But this show, the whole show in general, I think was a good show. It was a good pay-per-view to check out if you haven't watched it. Jon Moxley did defend the IWGP World Heavyweight Championship in the main event against Shota Umino, little Shooter, the final exam for Shooter, his pupil. It was a good match. Moxley did get the win, but there was a lot on this show of the Young Lions trying to step up. They're still not quite there yet. Shooter didn't win. Uemura was challenging Shingo Takagi for the Never Openweight Championship, where Shingo was clowning the crap out of him the entire match. That was probably one of the better matches on the card too. I would check out Uemura and Shingo as well for the Never title. Shingo retains the championship, although he did get a good fight on his hands for it. But overall, the whole show, I definitely enjoyed it. I would go check it out. Hikuleo and El Fantasmo, the Gorillas of Destiny, Part 2. Regained the Never Strong Tag Team Championships, and I'm guessing this is all leading to Dominion, where they're probably gonna have a 4-way, possibly for both tag team titles, maybe to unify them. We don't know yet. The last thing to come out on that show, though, is that Evil and the House of Torture attacked Moxley after the match. Moxley thankfully then decided that after Evil spray painted the IWGP World Heavyweight Championship black, which is. It is what it is. I'm so tired of House of Torture. Everybody is, but there might be a light at the end of the tunnel because Jon Moxley has said he will take on Evil and defend the IWGP World Heavyweight Championship at Dominion. So hopefully, this is the end of the House of Torture because Mox said he's going to get rid of the House of Torture. Please do. Somebody get rid of the House of Torture. Put a stipulation in this match. If Evil loses, they got to disband. I want to see that. But overall, that's what's going on with New Japan over the past week. Some good stuff coming up for them. I definitely would go check it out. All Elite Wrestling, the numbers are interesting because their numbers haven't gone up, but they've gone up a little bit since they started this new angle a couple weeks ago, but they've kind of stabilized. The bleeding has stopped. And there's a little bit of a gain here, a little bit of gain in crowd attendance. They were back in Canada this past week. Had a pretty decent crowd for Dynamite. Had an even bigger crowd for Collision on Saturday. I think it was over 6,000 people. So for the metrics, if you're watching them, they are going up. But again, this is stuff that, even though I'm bringing it up in this show, I don't like to look at the metrics too much because it kind of takes too much importance. It is important for people who are in the business, but us as fans is really not that important. And I'm going to say the same in the converse because when I get to WWE, because they had a little trouble with their numbers this week. But overall, it's a good sign that things are at least okay in AEW as far as the general fan base is concerned. I think they've put out some good stuff. I did not see Dynamite this past Wednesday. I will be watching the one coming up this Wednesday to see if the momentum continued from the prior 2 weeks, which I thoroughly enjoyed the prior 2 episodes of Dynamite before last week. And another little bit of news. Let's go back to WWE then, since I didn't mention them earlier about the numbers. The numbers, WWE's numbers are great. They're always going to have great numbers and great metrics. But there was a report coming out that the Backlash numbers weren't really that good. The pay-per-view buys, there weren't too many people buying pay-per-view anyway. Most of the people getting it on Peacock, but it is an international show, so that is kind of telling. I think Meltzer was talking about the Google trends or whatever. I'm going to get to Meltzer again in a second. But the crowd wasn't a sellout, but it was the most money they got from an arena show. Like all of these firsts, they always have to find something to say in the press. But the show, I thought the Backlash show was pretty good, but apparently a lot of people didn't watch it. So this kind of goes to something I've said before. I hate to be that guy, but I have brought up recently that after all of the melodrama and the bedtime storytelling is over with, and then you got wrestling to give people, are they going to be hanging around? With Roman not around, with The Rock not around, with the Bloodline not being the same kind of story it was before, and apparently the drop-off has been pretty quick. Now, and the ratings have been a little bit down for Raw and SmackDown. Now, I'm going to give the WWE the benefit of the doubt and say that it's just good. They're just resetting their stories, and in about a couple months we might be back in with another hot storyline with them. I do like what they're doing with the Bloodline right now, and I do like the Judgment Day stuff I'm seeing, and I do like this burgeoning thing with Jade Cargill and Bianca Belair that they're kind of spinning up. They got the men's and women's tournament coming up, the King and Queen of the Ring coming up, which is interestingly very similar to the Owen Hart King and Queen of Hearts tournament. So both companies have King and Queen tournaments now, I guess. But we'll see what happens. The Cody Backlash is already starting. I'm seeing WWE. These are not AEW fans, too. These are WWE fans and some WWE sweaties who are already talking crap about Cody's title run. The rumor going around that he might be defending the title against Logan Paul next. Who knows? Not the only bit of, not bad news, but kind of shaky news for WWE in the post-media scrum, I should say it correctly, for Backlash. Triple H threw some shade again at some wrestling dirt sheets. I think there was an apology, or may not have been an apology afterwards, but a lot of people took exception to that. And it's funny, the WWE's relationship with the wrestling media is such hit or miss. On again, off again, hot and cold, even with the sweaties. Because Dave Meltzer, as I said I was going to get back to him, gave a Tama Tonga's first match in WWE, something like 4.5 or 4.75, whatever the star is. He gave it a high star rating or whatever, right? And it's amazing to see all the WWE sweaties. Now they care about Dave Meltzer's star ratings. This community is so funny, but Meltzer is back in the news also for he's throwing disparaging remarks about other dirt sheets, because I guess he's the gatekeeper for the dirt sheet writers. So there's a lot of weird, stupid, silly stuff going on in the world of pro wrestling and sports entertainment. But we're covering it here. It's fun to talk about every once in a while, but again, don't take any of this stuff too seriously, because at the end of the day, it's wrestling, and most of the people in wrestling are scam artists anyway, so it is what it is. We're just supposed to be entertained by it, and I am entertained by it. But I want to know what you guys think about any of these news stories. What's going on in the world of pro wrestling sports entertainment? Did you watch New Japan's Resurgence show? Did you enjoy it? What do you think about Jon Moxley possibly ending the House of Torture, please? What do you think about the numbers for AEW stabilizing? And do you think that the current storylines that they got, are they good storylines? Are they getting your attention? Or are you still on the fence and kind of like, it's not really lighting me on fire yet? And WWE and its relationship with the media, what do you think about it? Let your voice be heard in the comment box below. And also let me know whether or not you think Cody's title reign, even though it's kind of getting off to a shaky start with some of the fans, do you think it just needs some time for people to settle in with it? Let your voice be heard in the comment box below. Until next time, I will see you guys here for more news, rumors, and commentary on the Rant and Review Pro Wrestling. Also, check out the gaming channel, We just had a Let's Play of the Nintendo Entertainment System classic, Ninja Gaiden. So if you want to learn how to beat that very, very difficult game, check out the gaming channel as well. I'll see you guys later. Have a good day.